Vesuvius, the most famous volcano in Europe. Even if Vesuvius were dormant and asleep forever, the stories, legends, and traditions associated with its name would more than suffice for an entire mountain system. But it only pretends to be asleep, constantly reminding of itself with earthquakes and thick clouds of smoke gushing from its throat or flowing down the slopes. This means that the history of Vesuvius as an active volcano continues. Where Vesuvius is located. If you know where Naples is located, you won't have a problem finding out where Vesuvius volcano is. It is located just 15 kilometers southeast of Naples, on the coast of the Bay of Naples. The geographic coordinates of Vesuvius volcano are 40°4917 north latitude and 14°2532 east longitude. The height of the volcano is 1,281 meters. Its crater consists of 3 nested cones. The oldest, Monte Sama, is an arc-shaped rampart on the northern and eastern slopes. The second cone is inside Monte Sama, while the third cone appears and disappears deep in the crater after strong eruptions. However, because the soils on the slopes of the volcano have always been fertile, people settled in its vicinity even after the worst disasters. Today, right at the foot of Vesuvius is a small coastal town of Torre Annunziata. Perhaps, and the inhabitants of this town, and a million population of Naples are reassured by the fact that the activity of the volcano is constantly monitored by specialists from the observatory, which is located on its western slope at an altitude of 600 meters. The observatory was founded back in 1842, when, after a series of eruptions in the 17th to 18th centuries, it finally became clear that things are bad with Vesuvius. Vesuvius volcano is considered a fairly old volcano, as evidenced by its relatively low height, while 100 years ago it was at least 20 meters higher. But it is not going to give up its position, confidently entering the top 5 most legendary volcanoes in the world along with Caucasian Ararat and Elbrus, Mexican Popocatépetl, and its neighbor Etna. What is Vesuvius famous for? When we say the last day of Pompeii, we mean Vesuvius, and vice versa. But it acquired its fame long before classical antiquity. Some scholars associate the origin of the word Vesuvius with the word fest, smoke, which entered the modern language from the Oca language, which disappeared a few hundred years BC, while others link it with the Proto-European root ves, mountain, which may have appeared in the speech of our ancestors thousands of years ago. According to one legend, the Roman god of fire and blacksmithing, Vulcan, worked there, where Vesuvius volcano is located. In 73 BC its slopes sheltered the slaves who rebelled under the leadership of Spartacus. The battle on Vesuvius made it clear to Rome that fugitive gladiators also knew how to hold sieges and wage full-scale hostilities. Lord William Hamilton, husband of the famous Emma Hamilton, Nelson's mistress, treated Vesuvius as his favorite child. It was he who in 1776 published Scorched Fields, the first significant scientific work on volcanology. The publication was preceded by years of observation of Vesuvius, with Hamilton observing it directly from his own Villa Angelica, built on one of the slopes. Vesuvius also became a cultural symbol. For example, the French writer and diplomat Chateaubriand, who visited the volcano in the early 19th century, described it as a spectacle of primordial chaos with light animation. At the light of the artist and poet Wilhelm Tischbein, a friend of Goethe, who, on the other hand, was not impressed by the volcano, the comparison of Vesuvius with fireworks in Carnival became one of the commonplaces in late 18th century art. In 1880 a funicular was built for tourists wishing to climb to the top of the volcano, which existed in various modifications until 1944, until the last eruption. In memory of this funicular, one of the best Neapolitan songs, Funiculi, Funicula, has become a part of the repertoire of the best opera singers in the world, M. Lanza, P. Domingo, L. Pavarotti. The most famous eruptions of the volcano Vesuvius, the creator of natural history, one of the main extant ancient sources, Pliny the Elder, died on August 24, 79, while trying to save his friends. That is, during the most famous eruption of the volcano Vesuvius, which destroyed Pompeii, Herculaneum, and Stabia. The type of eruption where a huge column of fire suddenly erupted from the crater was called Plinian. According to the most conservative estimates, 1 in 10 of the inhabitants of these cities, or more than 2,000 people, died at the time. But the first, relatively accurately dated eruption, occurred around 6940 BC. After the eruption of the volcano Vesuvius, which occurred about 3,800 years ago, the area where modern Naples is located was completely covered with streams of lava and covered with ash. After 79, Vesuvius pretended to be asleep for a millennium and a half. It awoke only on December 16, 1631. According to various sources, between 4,000 and 18,000 people were killed in that eruption. The surrounding towns and villages were massively overpopulated. In the second half of 18th century, Volcano Vesuvius was raging on a full program. The eruptions followed literally one after another, in 1767, 1779, 1794. Later it woke up every 40 to 50 years, in 1822, 1872, 1906 and 1944. Currently, scientists suggest that the eruption of Vesuvius may occur within the next 10 years. This is evidenced, in particular, by more frequent earthquakes in the region and an increase in magma activity deep in the crater of the volcano. How to get to Vesuvius from Naples? Getting to mainland Europe's only active volcano is not difficult. A car equipped with an intelligible navigator capable of recognizing the coordinates of Vesuvius volcano will take the curious traveler along the A3 from Naples to the destination in a matter of minutes. Trains, going at short intervals from the city station in Piazza Garibaldi, will take the tourist to the intermediate station Ercolano Scavi also in just 10 to 15 minutes. From the station to the starting point of the ascent, travelers will have to change to a minibus, travel time about 30 minutes. In order not to waste time on transfers, you can choose a direct bus route from Naples. To do this, you will have to go to Piazza Pietragrada, where buses depart daily at 9 o'clock and 10:15 a.m. The final stop is Vesuvius National Park. Travel time is about 1.5 hours. The buses go to the city, respectively, at 12:30 and at 1400 hours. If you decide to spend the night after the tour in a hotel nearby, and leave climbing Vesuvius for the morning, you will need to get to the Plaza Amphitheater in the ancient city, where you will change to a bus. Tour time is from 8:00 to 11:20. Travel time to the volcano is about an hour.